Alright, welcome to another video by the Area 515 Wood Shop. Today we'll be going over the Ready2Rout CNC router fence and CNC router lift. We have a spin right spindle in this setup, and I've been using it now for a couple of weeks, getting familiar with it along with the other stewards. Today I'm going to go over some of the finer points of it so that it can be used in conjunction with that training. Alright, this is the control panel for it. As you can see, we can recall previous save settings, save new settings in it, control how much. So right now it moves things in a ½ inch increment. We can change that over here all the way down to 1/100th of an inch. We have built-in applications that we can run. Today we'll actually be doing a repeating, we'll be doing a box joint today, which is essentially a repeating dado. We'll go over the touch plate calibration. But first thing I'm going to do is get the fence out of the way. Well, I guess first thing I'm going to do is go the wrong direction. So we're going to move the fence out of the way. And we're going to raise the lift all the way up. Now, there are no end stops on this. So if you hear it grunt like that, stop. Changing this bit's just like changing any other bit. Except this is a little different collet. This uses a collet and clamp nut like a lot of CNC machines do, so it's no big deal to pop the collet out of the clamp nut. Please do not ever remove this dust collection boot. You will be required to use dust collection anytime you are using this machine. Go ahead and run our lift back up. There we go.
So that's ready.
Alright, so we got our bit in our boot on. I'm not going to use the dust collector today so you can hear me when I run this, but well, we can manually position our fence right here, and I'll set that to 1/8 of an inch. ½ inch is a little ridiculous. Set it where we want. We'll bring our lift up manually. Then, just like we did before, turn it on with the switch. So we're going to set this up for a box joint. We're going to go into apps. We're going to first do our box joint. We'll do touch plate calibration. That way we know where our settings are. We'll set our bit diameter, and it is 1/4 inch. Oops. Our motor speed says, we can, it gives us a recommendation for our motor speed. We can, which it does not control the speed of the motor. Go with our fence calibration. Press to run. Requires the touch plate assembly, which is this guy. We have it plugged in here. Verify bit diameter is entered into system. Position blade of stop bit towards fence. Connect touch plate magnet to bit. So our touch plate magnet connects to the bit. We are unplugging the spindle. for this operation. There. We are connected to the bit. We click OK. Confirm proper touch plate connection. Please perform test touch now. Okay, so there, I found the touch plate. Not get that in place in time. All right, we're gonna put this up just a little bit more. Okay, touch plate calibration. Fence calibration. Okay. Form the connect. Okay. I'm going to connect this to the bit. I'm going to hit OK. That moves the plate in. All right. Now, if we go to 0, goes to 0. Cool. So now we're going to do the bit calibration. Verify bit diameter is entered the system. Top of bit must be below table surface. It is not. So we stop. We take the lift down. Now we redo that. Okay. We've verified our plate works. Now, set this over the top of our bit, like so. We hit OK. And it found home. Now that it's calibrated, we unplug the touch plate, select apps, box joint, we tell it to run. We tell it still a 1/4 inch bit. We tell it we want the bit height to be 1/2 inch. Our material width. Yeah, sure. 2.5 inches sounds good. And we're going to start with the female box joint. We plug our spindle in. Turn it on. Edge down and perpendicular to the fence. You tell it to continue, and it'll move the fence. It'll move the fence again. And it'll keep doing that until 2 1/4 inches are done. There we go. There's our pins for our box joint. Next we do the male joint, and it will also move the fence again back into position. We'll start, and we'll keep doing that until our 2 1/2 inches is done. Then we will have perfect looking box joint. We have apps for dovetails, dados, box joints, fluting, pocket holes, keyholes, step and plunge, whole lot of stuff. But honestly, most of the time, we will probably just be using the manual calibration here. And what's really nice is if you have a setting that you need to repeat, say you need your fence 1 inch from your bit, and your bit height is going to be 1/4 inch high. We can go in and say, okay, that's where I want the lift, that's where I want the fence. And if we have another situation where our next cut is going to be 1.5 inches on the fence and 1/2 inch on the bit, you can hit save and pick the next slot, and there we go. Now when we start, we can go, okay, we're going to 0. So I just goofed up here and set this to my 0. So in order to fix that, I have to bring it down to 1/2 inch, save this as 0. There we go. Alright, now I can recall 0 and recall 0 on the fence. There's my starting spot. So then I recall 1. Recall 1 on the fence. There's my first, and I'll show you. There's my first set of measurements. And then I can recall. That moves the lift, and then recall the fence, and it moves to the second set of measurements. With this new system, there's no reason that all adjustments can't be made from above the fence. So there we go.